This is my reaction video. This is number 3. In this interview, it was between Nick Epley from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, and he sat down and interviewed Eugene Soltz, and he's from the Harvard Business School. Together they discussed some of the most prominent executives convicted of white-collar crimes. Eugene Soltz goes into detail and elaborates on how to sort of grasp and how to understand the why of these crimes. He does this by trying to get the audience to think from the perpetrator's point of view instead of the victims. Here are some of my takeaways from the video. Started off, it was some of the executives have gone to prison for their crimes, and their jobs were waiting for them when they finished serving their time. It's almost like nothing ever happened. Like their time served meant nothing. When I heard this in the video, it just kind of didn't sit well with me. But and then as Soltz moved on into the video, he started talking about when he started to pick these criminals' brains. He mentioned that the criminals usually have no feeling of wrongdoing when they are committing these criminal acts, even if their repercussions could destroy an entire company or somebody's life, really. He also mentioned that white-collar crimes have not been around that long. It was, I believe, 1939. Moving on, Soltz also made the comment that he has not noticed a pattern when he interviews these criminals. However, there is a common belief that people just they don't believe they will get caught when they are performing these white-collar crimes. They don't think that they are these crimes. I suppose that's how you could word it. And then even though if they do get caught, they don't think they'll go to prison, but that's not always the case. He touched on this later in the video. This is most commonly known as insider trading. A theory that was brought up was if corporate were to prosecute more of these white-collar crimes, then people would start thinking twice about committing them. But in turn, that means there would be more prosecutions, and the cost of that is just too much. So it's more than likely not going to happen. Soltz said lives were only lost once in his span of interviews. The repercussions were not thought of during this crime. Like I mentioned before, the people that were performing these crimes did not think of how it would affect others. So obviously, the people that lost their lives did not have a choice in this, but the people that did commit the crimes probably were not thinking long-term about how it could affect somebody else. Another example, not as severe, would be lying on paper. Soltz also mentioned this, saying it wasn't a big deal until they were confronted face-to-face. Actually, he did give an example saying the guy had no problem lying on paper until somebody asked him to lie in person, and then he actually spoke up and said, "No, I can't do that." He thought long term, thought ahead, thought of the repercussions. Circling back to the insider trading, just a little definition for it. It was criminals don't see a specific person that is affected, but they see it as like a harmless act or a victimless crime. Insider trading is also information that is not publicly known or known to the public. So like if you have stock in a certain company and they tell you, hey, you need to get your money out, we're about to drop, or hey, you should invest in this, we're about to go up, and then it does, but they only tell you, like, that's insider trading because the public does not know. He also said that all people do wrong things. Everyone has done something wrong, but we rationalize it. Most people know when to stop. When he said this stuck out to me the most, but he made the correlation with speeding because I think we've all gone over the speed limit once or twice in our lives, but yeah. Another point that Soltz brought up in his video, he talked about Bernie Madoff, who was one of the victims that he interviewed, and he ran a Ponzi scheme, which I looked into outside of this video. Happened to be it was the largest Ponzi scheme in history. He talked about how Madoff had trouble empathizing with people and going back to like that rationalizing it. He did not feel that towards other people. He actually blamed others for putting him in that position, saying it was somebody else's fault. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I had no prior knowledge to that. Something else that really stuck out to me in this video is when Soltz said, you need humility. He said, you need humility to help fix things. You need humility to help fix this problem. The problem being white-collar crimes. So I thought that was a main point if you had to list them for this video. Then towards the end of the video, he started emphasizing on leadership and going back to that, I guess, having a system of checks and balances as well, that will help you be successful. He listed a few other things. I'm drawing a blank at the moment. I apologize, but lastly, he said you need to be able to differentiate good intentions from unethical behaviors, and I just think that's a pretty good way to wrap up a video, to be honest. But overall, I enjoyed this video. We just talked about white-collar crime a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I really enjoyed the video. It was a good interview. I don't know if I'll read his book or not, but if I do, I'm sure